the co-founder of Forces of Renewal for Southeast Asia, a network of concerned scholars and activists. Thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World. Tell me, how concerned are you about the current situation in these camps?
Well, I'm very much concerned because a lot of them, in the camps I have met and visited, a number of times since they arrived as genocide survivors. And also I'm concerned about the fact that, these incidents of fire have become rather frequent. The last 2 years have witnessed over 220 incidents of fire, and about 60 of them are said to be the results of deliberate arson or torching of villages. And the finding, puts the responsibility on the militant groups among the Rohingyas. There are two main armed militant groups. One's called Rohingya Solidarity Organization that has become a lot more prominent recently, and then the other one's called Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. And the one thing that needs to be pointed out, these camps are fenced in and heavily monitored by the Bangladeshi authorities, particularly Bangladeshi military intelligence and Bangladeshi troops. And so these groups cannot and do not operate in these camps or on the Bangladeshi soil without the knowledge, if not consent or backing of the Bangladeshi authorities. So there are more questions raised from the findings. It's not simply that militant groups are burning down the refugee camps.
If I may interject, I just want to make sure I get this right. So are you indicating that the Bangladeshi authorities are complicit in these arson attacks?
Well, it's a possibility that I'm raising because these camps, after 5 o'clock, the NGOs and humanitarian relief workers have to leave. And it's a complex of many camps, about 30 of them, housing close to 1 million, genocide survivors in Bangladesh. They're from my country, Myanmar, and they're called Rohingyas. And, they don't have the freedom of movement to move from one camp to the other. And they're fenced in with barbed wire fences. And Bangladeshi authorities knows what is going on in these camps. And if the militant groups are burning down as a matter of pattern, at least 60 times, according to the report here, then why are they not taking any effective actions against these militant groups?
Right, and certainly that is a very important question that you have raised. Now, I want to turn your attention to the recommendations that have been made by the panel that investigated this fire incident. Number one thing that they say is the establishment of fire units, and they also say that this incident should be further investigated. But is that enough, or do you think something else should be done at this point?
Well, I think the Rohingyas should be allowed to move about in these camps because the number one problem after the fire is the barbed wire camps. And so when you're inside barbed wire camps, when the fire broke out that in your shanty area, then you are trapped inside the camps. And so can you imagine genocide survivors from Auschwitz and other places, after they survived the genocide, they're fenced in a different camp, in new camps where they don't have any the legal standing or like a sufficient humanitarian assistance from the international community or any meaningful opportunities to develop themselves as students or farmers or whatnot. And so these are broader issues that need to be addressed because they are not going back to Burma anytime soon. 80% of Burma is engulfed in civil war between the military that perpetrated the genocide against the Rohingya and the entire society of multi-ethnic and multi-faith people. So they're going to be there for a long, long time. I can tell you despite the noises coming from Myanmar that the military is suddenly planning to adopt a pilot scheme to repatriate a few hundred Rohingyas. In my view, it's designed to ease international pressure and also domestic, pressure by the Myanmar military.
Maung Zarni, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World. Really appreciate your taking out the time.
Thank you.